Good evening, everyone, and welcome into Offline Racing here for round four, I believe. Yeah, round four here in Singapore for Division 1. Hopefully got someone else to join us, but 17 in at the moment, so nice grid for the track. This track being a tight circuit, and going by yesterday's race, I expect to see some interesting racing, not in a bad way, good way, obviously. There's some interesting racing going on and some tight racing for sure. One of them tracks, a couple of straights, but you're sort of on the brakes and turning a lot, so there isn't any like real areas to really pull away unless you've got some decent offset on the tires. Other than that, I reckon these guys are going to be pretty tight going by the previous races. Let me just get my bits and bobs up on the screen. Track map and lap data, that's the stuff I need for now. So the first guy, I think, is Bosmos. It is. It's going to be Bosmos to get a lap going. Nice dry session for them. Singapore can be one of them tracks to throw in the rain quite often, so they'll be happy with a dry qualifying. They had a wet qualifying last week in Monza, so yeah, I would imagine most of the drivers are pretty happy that it's dry for this one. So just a little quiet moment where everybody gets their outlaps done. Bosmos going to be the first one to get us going around the final corner now, over the line to get the time started. And then down into turn one, nice wide entry, try and carry as much speed as you can through there for turns 2 and then 3. Looks nice and tidy out of turn 3, easy to get too heavy on the throttle there and lose the car. Into turn 4, down the first straight zone of 4 around this track, 2 of them being short, 2 of them being long. That's one of the long ones. And looking fairly tidy here from Bosmos so far. Looks like he might have gone a little bit deep there. I don't know if that was just a camera angle. He sort of disappeared behind a wall for us. A little bit of a wobble out of that corner. Hopefully didn't bleed off too much time with it. And then through this section and over the bridge, it's all wanting to keep it as tight to the wall as you can and try and maximize the width of that track. And out of the hairpin, nice exit out of the hairpin there. Got down on the power really well. And then now onto the final straight zone of the lap, down into the chicane. See how his exit is on the chicane. You want to try and run out wide without hitting the wall yet. Nice exit again. Bosmos looks to be a nice clean lap from Bosmos so far. Let's see what time he can start us off with. It's 28.7, and he gives a little wobble there as he goes over the line. Don't know if that's in frustration he lost time, or whether he just felt like giving it a wobble. But 28.7 will be the fastest time to start us off with. Now everybody else is coming in. We've got an Aston Martin. It's going to be Alp, who goes quicker with a 28.6. And we've got a Red Bull. I really hate the flicking. You'll have to bear with me on that. It's going to be glitched hen. No, it's not. It's a V-carb. Ignore me. The other Red Bull is Cooper Fan, who's just about to start a lap. And then he's got the Ferrari of Richmond just in front. So we'll go back with Marius, because Marius is coming around the final corner on a lap. See what time Marius can get us down. And he goes with a 1:35, so he's not had the best of laps there, but plenty of time for him to go again. We'll skip down to AMS Edward that we've seen before, and he's just starting his lap. Cooper is already invalidated, so he won't be getting the time on the board just yet. And then down to Ratty and the other McLaren, who I think is on a push lap, so we'll stay on board with Ratty for the time being. Oh, bit of a wobble there and a bang of the wall. That's going to have cost some time, that's for sure there for Ratty, but it's just a banker lap. Plenty of time yet. Don't let it get to you. But we'll stay on board with Ratty being on this lap. He puts a purple. Don't know if that's just sometimes the game shows purples, I think, for everybody's first run, whether they are quickest in that sector or not. I'm not sure on that. I believe it to be that way, but it was purple nonetheless through the chicane. And now on the run down to the final corner, flings it into the final corner and still manages to put a 29.0, so 4/10 off, but he did have that snap and bang of the wall, so I would imagine he lost a fair chunk of that time at that point. We'll go down to Lorenz, who's coming through sector 2 now up to the bridge. Oh, Lorenz goes wide and his back end clips the wall, and he is round facing the wrong way. Not ideal for Lorenz there. Caught that one just in time. So that's Lorenz's lap done for. He's going to have to reset himself and get going again. Go on board with AMS Edward, who he's not put a time down yet. I thought he was on a lap on the previous lap, but maybe he invalidated or something, or I was getting that wrong. There's a little bit of wall banging there. Just riding the wall coming down the first straight of the lap. Tight left-hander and then a tight right-hander. I think it is just the camera there that makes it look like they're going deeper than they actually are. Oh, and he's also had a slide there. Managed to keep it out of the wall. Let's see how he goes through this snaky S section almost of sector 2. Over the bridge, down into the hairpin. And gets on the throttle nicely there, out of the hairpin, being one of the slowest points of the lap, if not the slowest. So 28.6 currently our fastest lap on the board. Glitched Hen and Bosmos very close to each other with a 28.7. And then 3 within the 28.9, so it's already fairly close on sometimes between some of those drivers. And AMS Edward goes up there and beats his teammate's time with a 1:28.515. So the Aston Martin's looking pretty good at the moment as we come in the final 10 minutes of qualifying. Quite a few of them on their outlaps for their second runs. Got Cooper Fan, who invalidated his lap, now on his outlap to try again and get a time on the board for himself. He's another driver that's been, just like the Aston Martins at the moment, very close to his teammate in qualifying. He was last week. The Red Bulls had a very strong qualifying, so they're ones to look out for, to put a spanner in the works for the Aston Martins at the moment. And then Bosmos, don't count him out either. Bosmos is very capable of putting down a good lap when he needs to. Have a little look where Cooper Fan is currently, as he's now on his lap. Oh, bit of a snap out of that corner. So Cooper doesn't look to be having the best of days today around Singapore. I wonder if Singapore's one of his tracks where the kryptonite comes out. But we'll see what he can pull off as time goes on. McLaren getting out the way for him across the bridge there. Very tight section of the track across that bridge, so the McLaren looked to have done well to get out of the way for Cooper. And AMS, no, sorry, not AMS, Capybari has just gone in between AMS Edward and Alp, and then also PW Jones pulling a lap out and going into P3 with a 28.6. Great lap there from PW. He did say this track, with not being one of those tracks where you have to worry about the battery so much, he was enjoying it a bit more, and he's showing that at the moment. And Cooper goes up into P8 there with his first time of the day with a 28.9. Plenty of time for him to get back round and go again. Now he has that banker on the board, can try and push that little bit more, but he doesn't look too confident through some of the corners. He's a little bit, car looks a little bit lively. As in the background there we see the McLaren of Ratti almost putting it in the wall out of turn 4. Yeah, turn 4. But did very well to keep it out of the wall. Brian Bomo has invalidated his current lap. We'll go down and have a look where Lorenz, yeah, he's in the pit. I didn't see that. SKG shown, looks to be on an in lap. No, or he's going for a push. Yeah, saw his light flashing, but it flashes more now with the battery charge. So it did look like he was going a bit slower. So maybe it was just, maybe he made a mistake and he's just got himself going for a second lap, or he's done a double out lap. But all these times coming down now. Richmond now up into P3, Apicati in P4, pushing PW down into P5. All within the 20. Oh, sorry about that little stutter then. Don't know what was going on there. But 4 drivers all in the 28.5s. Very, very tight between Capybari and AMS Edwards. Only 3 thousandths in it. Go on board with Glitched Hen, who's making his run down to the final corner now. I think on a push lap to see if he can get an improvement on his time. He does get an improvement, goes up into P3 with 28.5, so that now makes 5 drivers all in the 28.5s. Very, very close between the front pack, the front 3 rows even on the starting grid, up, you know, up to P6. Very, very tight. Shaping up to, if this is how close they are with their pace, it's shaping up to be a tight race. Could be anybody's to take as well with this track. You make one little mistake and it can cost you big time. So these drivers just need to make sure they keep out the wall, if anything. Marius Anderson getting all out of shape out of the hairpin there. Got a bit heavy on the throttle and that back end kicked out. The guy that I want to keep a little look at now is Lorenz, because he's one that is definitely more than capable of shuffling that front pack a little bit, as we've seen in previous races. So hopefully, I don't think he's pushing this time round. No, he's definitely not pushing this time round, but hopefully he'll be wanting to try and get a better time on the board after that mistake that we saw him have on his first run. KFC also not looking like he's pushing this time round. The track's a little bit quiet at the moment as everybody's making them final preparations now for their final runs. You can see there's only 4 out on track with Lorenz, KFC, PSR, Alp and Bosmos. Alp is no, Bosmos is our closest man to starting a lap. has invalidated the outlap, as we can see with the red track map down in the bottom right. But hopefully he didn't get the one that says this and next lap. We should see. No, the red disappears, so he's got a valid lap to begin. PW saying he's surprised how slow the times are. Maybe some people are just being that little bit extra careful. They don't want to stick it in the wall and just make sure they have some kind of time down. Or you've done better than you thought you would to be quicker. I can't remember off the top of my head what the qualifying was yesterday. Maybe Ricky, if he's in the chat, can enlighten me on that one. I know, I think it was a 28. No, I'll wait and see if Ricky answers that one, and can't quite remember what the poll was to compare. But it's, even though there's still got 10 drivers all in the 28, so it's very close between them. Hopefully, so I'm gonna go down, have a little look where it's shown as invalidated. Lorenz is invalidated, and KFC is currently on his lap, or he's just finished it with that 2:03. No, that was, I think he's done a double out lap. So let's go down to the man that came in the chat. So 28.5 or 28.4, Dr. Steele has come in the chat going for a poll. Oh, little bang of the wall there off PW Jones. Oh, and a little wobble out of that corner as well. Car wanting to let go, but PW did well to keep it going in a straight line. It's going to have cost him time, that's definitely. A little bang of the wall there, nothing too much though, just a little brush on the wall. So PW really trying to open up the track as much as he can. PW's just see KFC, there you go. KFC goes up into P9, 28.6. Just seeing him jump up there. So KFC did do a double out lap, and then he retires at turn 1. I'm not sure what that's about, but hopefully it shouldn't impact anybody. And PW Jones goes pole with a 28.4. As it stands, good lap from PW. Even a couple of brushes of the wall that we saw and that little wobble, he's got himself onto the current pole. And then AMS Edward comes along and says, I'll have some of that, and goes with a 28.414. Luke has just come in saying, invite, you'll have to wait for an invite, sir, if you're in the thing. Just get the end of this qualifying, and then I'll get you in on the lobby reset. You will have to start from the back if you are in the stream and can hear me. But Capybara now going up 20, so all these times really coming in. Marius Adamson with a 28.2. We'll go down to QDR, Glitch 10, who's coming up to the final corner. See if Glitch can do anything. Glitch goes P2 with a 28.3, and I think, no, we got shown. No, that is it. That will be qualifying. Marius Anderson taking pole here today with a 28.224, shortly followed by Glitch 10 with a 28.3, and then Capybara with a 28.360 to round out the podium positions. Very, very close times though between the grid, right down to P13 is hundredths in it. There's no big gap, so very tight qualifying there between these guys. And Marius being the standout one with that pole time here today. He'll be well and truly happy with that one. And as we've seen there, Lorenz did get a better time on the board as well. He went up into P7. But again, the Red Bulls showing some strong pace, both in the top 10. Glitch being the fastest one of the two today. So we got the lobby reset, obviously. So we got our moment of Bosch. The Bosch, as they all go Bosch, Bosch and Bosch into turn one. Well, most of them do. Should have a little quiet moment from me as they all do their retiring business and I get the grid reset. As there we heard the Bosch, 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 and they all go into the wall at turn 3. And that is everybody retired, ready to get the reset done as quickly as possible for you guys so we can get the racing underway. Marius saying that that was a personal best for him. I think he was saying his best lap before qualifying was a 28.6. So just a little quiet couple of minutes. Got one more guy to get in. There he is, LR Luke. Obviously being late today, not getting qualifying done. He will be starting from the back, so it'll be see what he can do today. And I think he is in, so I can crack on. Yeah, I'll crack on and get the grid done. Of course you're all the way down there. Why are they all down the bottom? Beautiful. Let's get them locked in. Double check there's no penalties that need to be given. Even better, check that I've done that. Happy days. So just wait for the tier coordinator PW to give them the thumbs up and the instructions on getting the race started, and then we can get these 31 laps here in Singapore off to a start. What's your predictions, people in the chat? Who's going to win? Marius, I know, is quite strong in the races. Glitched, obviously. So if those two manage to keep themselves out of any business, any funny business, then I might go with Glitched on this one. PW says Lorenz win. Lap 1 safety car and a Lorenz win. Yeah, I wouldn't count Lorenz out. I mean, Glitched has been fairly strong. He won last week. Very strong driver on pace. So when it comes to race pace, so yeah, I think it could be. Yeah, I mean, it could be anybody's who knows around this track, but if I'm going to put a name, I'd say I'll go with Glitched over Marius, just on what I've seen of Glitched in the first 3 rounds. Well, obviously other than round 2, because Glitched had an injury, so he missed that one, but in round 1 and 3, he's been strong in these new regulations, so let's see what happens. Right, so while we wait for these to ready up, bear with me. I'm just going to leave my Xbox party and rejoin it because it does boot me out when I'm a loner for so long. And then I end up coming through the game chat. So if I reset that now. Then hopefully it keeps me in the Xbox party for the race. So the lights are on, we're ready to go. 5 of them lit, holding them. And we are finally away. That was quite a long hold there. Marius looks to have a good launch there from Glitched. Manages to have them covered off nicely into turn 1. Yellow flag behind. Don't know if that's just the start, from the start of the race, or if something's happened there. We can see quite a few cars 2x2 into turn 4. But at the front, all well for Marius and Glitch, having a good getaway. Capybari as well. Not much shuffling going on between those two. Cooper and P4. Lorenz up to P5. So good getaway from these guys. You can see Capybari there under pressure from Cooper, but manages to defend him off for the time being. PW falling down the pack there. PW not having the best of start. Down now into P14. And Cooper fan finally, I think they're side by side. But he's managed to get himself up alongside to put the pressure on Capybari. Capybari defending very well at the moment, but can't defend it enough. Cooper does get through on him, and that's now both the Red Bulls together in P2 and 3. Capybari also having to fight and fend off Lorenz Patton, as we can see there in the chicane. Still side by side going into the final corner. Lorenz getting it done round the outside on Capybari. And that, yeah, the Capybari losing 2 positions through that final sector there. So just needs to settle down now and try and get them back in the coming stages of the race. But at the front, Cooper getting up with Glitched pretty quickly after that battle. Glitch going for a move on Marius now, down into turn 5, side by side. Just enough room. Cooper now leaves the door open for Cooper to have a look on Marius, but can't quite get it done himself. At that point, looks for the switchback, can't get it done there, and has to yield it for now and slot him back in behind Marius. So the Red Bulls, oh no, Cooper's coming again. Yeah, the Red, oh, and Cooper hits the wall, and that's his wing gone. Just turned in a little bit too early there by the looks of it, and full on shunted that wall. Big hit on the left side of Cooper's wing. I was just about to say Red Bull's looking really strong at this point, and then Cooper sticks it in the wall there, so he's going to have to pull something out for the rest of this race now. But that's allowed Glitch to try and get a little bit of a gap on Marius. At this point, we'll have a little look further down. See what's going on. Everybody looking to be settling down now off the start, all in single file at the moment, all within a second of each other as well. Oh no, sorry, forget what I just said. Capybari almost a second and a half behind, but most people all within a second of the car ahead of them. So we'll go back up to the front. And keep an eye on these guys at the moment, because Marius is not letting Glitch go yet, and Lorenz already up into P3. PW saying Lorenz for the win. Well, Lorenz is looking looking decent already on lap 3. He's got himself up into the podium position, and right behind Marius, so it's not out of reach for him. That's LR Luke, who started at the back. Oh, yellow flag. That is for SKG shown. No, that's the other white car. That's for LR Luke. And I was just going to say, LR Luke already up into P14, I think it was, or 13 or 14. Obviously from starting from the back, but then he's had some sort of moment and ended up facing the wrong way, so that's him back down into P17 at the moment. Both the Cadillacs down there now, so not the greatest of starts for the Cadillacs as it stands. And LR Luke gets the 10 seconds and decides that he's going to call it a day in these early stages. The front pack now starting to edge away from everybody else. Capibari, Lorenz, Marius and Glitch 10 all in their own little sort of, especially the front three, all in their own little train at the moment. No major swaps going on as of yet. We've got Alp making a move on Cooper. Cooper's still out carrying that damaged wing, but I wonder how long he can carry that for before he's going to have no option but to box. We see the Mercedes try and have a look down the inside, but Cooper has the better exit. It's Apicati trying to look for a move, but that's now put Apicati under pressure from the Ferrari. Ferrari had a little look out, but knew, seeing that he wasn't going to get it done this time round, so slotted back in behind Apicati. They're getting racy between these guys in the midfield now. Cooper obviously with that front wing, anybody behind him, there he goes. We do see him dart into the pits now, and the McLaren of Ratty. Go back to this little battle going on here. We've got Lorenz and Marius swapping positions. That's Lorenz. It looked like Marius was ghosted there. Don't know if that's a connection or a bit of contact, as ghosting definitely was switched off. And collisions back on, should I say. But Lorenz already now looking at that potential win with Glitch 10 right on his nose. Got KFC and Catellos fighting. I think that's KFC getting through. It's still side by side, and oh, the house goes a little bit wide, and KFC goes KFC comes off the wall. Manages to keep it going. Don't think he picked up any damage. Wing looks to be okay. So that's going to end that battle between him and Catella at the moment. Let's go back to the front pack. Capibari now brought himself back within that second of these guys since they've started battling. So 3 have definitely now become 4. And Lorenz almost pushing Glitch through turns 1, 2 and 3 there, getting very close to the back of Glitch 10. I expect to see Lorenz go for the move, possibly down this straight into turn 5, so we'll see whether he can get it done, or if Glitch has the battery to defend. A little bit of a wheel bang there as it goes to the inside. Glitch closing that door as much as he can. Now they're side by side, and it's going to put Glitch on the inside of turn 6 into turn 7. Glitch looking for the switchback. and can't get it done this time. So that is Lorenz now up into P1, done and dusted. We have a yellow flag, sector 3. That's the second Cadillac retiring, so not the best of day, definitely not the best day for Cadillac. We can hear a bit of banging going on behind. I don't know if that was somebody just giving the wall a bit of a tap, but most of the pack is very close to each other at the moment. PW, after that bit of a rough start, he's got himself backed up into P11 now, close to the points. Got Brian Mumbumo just in front of him. And both the Aston Martins together in P5 and 6, Edward and Out. Wonder if they're going to work together to try and get up to the pack in front of them. But so far, not a bad opening stint here in Division 1, as we see Out getting through on his teammate. So I wonder if this is now the team games coming into play, or if that is just genuinely Out having more pace at this point. See Bosmos getting close to Richmond. Oh, as we see the Audi of Brian have a bit of a snap out of the hairpin. No, not out of the hairpin. They're coming up to the hairpin. Ignore me. It looked like the hairpin from the camera angle that we had, but ignore me. That wasn't the hairpin. That was the hairpin that they've just taken. But nonetheless, Brian had the snap and managed to keep it under control. So fair play for that one. Go back and have a look at these guys at the front. Nothing much happening with position swaps as of yet. All sort of in that management stage now on these tyres. We'll have a quick little look. Yep, all on the medium tyres. So this would be that point now where they start to feel the effects of the track. The constant turn-in temperatures can be known to soar on the tyres around here. Obviously it's a humid climate, and then the constant changes of direction, the high-speed corners of the final corner, it can put some temperature into it, especially that right-hand side. We see AMS Edward now, so that was him, I think, letting Out through, because he's now gone into the pits and retired. Glitch not too bothered about getting a move done on Lorenz just yet. Plenty of race to go, plenty of time. He's probably just focusing more on not letting Marius behind him get through. Marius is getting very close to the back of Glitch now. Wonder if... No, Glitch has a decent exit, so I don't think Marius is going to be able to get anything done down into the chicane. Bosmos still close to the back of Richmond, not able to get any move done on Richmond as of yet, if he is trying to, but he's going to have a look around the outside there. No, can't quite get along enough. But Bosmos should be coming to that stage now where he's on a better tyre. Oh, as we see a bit of a snap as he tries to put the power down behind Richmond there, but he is on the hard, so I would expect to see him get the advantage over the medium runners in the next couple of laps. And Brian still under pressure from PW. Got KFC who's had a spin. That puts him back into P13. He is missing the left side, some of the left side of his wing as well. Don't know if he's had a coming together with someone else or if he's just dropped it himself there. Can't see no damage on any other cars to suggest. But then if he's hit the back of them, we wouldn't. Go back to the front, that gap starting to open up a little bit now between Glitched and Lorenz. I think Glitched is now having to focus so much on Marius. It's just allowing Lorenz to get away a little bit as Glitch decides he's going to cool it in, get off those medium tyres now here on start of lap 10. So that is Glitched in the pits. And now Marius getting some pressure off of Capibari. That Marius was just out of that 1 second on Lorenz. I'm not sure. I think he should still have the boost mode with a bit of glitch going in. Not too sure. Yellow battery. We can't tell without me getting the telemetry on, and I'm not going to do that. And KFC retires in the pits, being our 4th person here today to call it a day. Hello LD Rail, I see you there in chat. How are you doing? So Bosmos still behind the Ferrari of Richmond, but Richmond is getting that boost, that overtake with being still within a second of Apicati ahead. So that's probably helping Richmond at the moment with his defence against Bosmos. Bosmos getting close now on the run down to the chicane. A little bit of a wobble. I don't think he's going to go for it. He is going for it. Down on the inside. No, backs out. Can't get the move done yet. So maybe he's just getting a little bit frustrated now behind the Ferrari. He's trying to get the move done, but can't quite commit to it enough yet. We'll see what happens down into turn 1. No, he's not going to look for it yet. So that's PW Jones, our next person to make a pit stop. PW does have a damaged wing there, so he's going to get that replaced. Bosmos now almost pushing the Ferrari out of the corner. And Catello gets himself a 3-second time penalty. Bosmos now going down on the inside of turn 5, side by side into turn 6. Little bit of a wheel bang, but nothing too serious between them. Good race, good hard racing, I'll put that down too. And then into turn 7, Bosmos manages to get the move done, and that's opened it up for Brian behind to also now have a look on the inside of the Ferrari. Side by side through probably one of the tightest sections of the track, and that is the position done and dusted for Brian. Richmond losing out 2 positions in that battle. And Brian drops it. Brian is in the wall. He's dropped it. Just got a little bit too heavy on the throttle there out of the hairpin. And he goes into the wall and loses some of his wing. Unfortunate there for Brian as he just got the move done. Got himself up. Was looking at some points. And now he's going to lose a few seconds on getting a new wing, but at this stage of the race, if he is on the mediums, it should only be a couple of seconds cost in the wing. It's sort of in that pit window. It's not too disastrous in some sense at this stage. Not like getting damage on the 2nd or 3rd lap where that's practically your whole stint ruined. So go back up. Capibari in that look, seeing that battle of them guys behind. Capibari has got himself ahead of Marius now, I think. Yeah, Marius was the one ahead. We'll come back on board with this battle going on at the front. Lorenz not able to pull a 1 second on them yet. He was sort of on the edge of the 1 second when Glitched Hen went into the pits, but at the moment the car's behind. As I say that, he's now edging to the 1 second mark again, so but he's not disappearing down the road with these guys that are battling behind. Very close between these guys at the moment. having not the best of starts, but he's managed to get himself back up there so far. So he's managed to recover quite nicely. But so far, not a bad little race, as we see Alp going into the pits. That'll just be for a straight tyre change. Richmond now up into P6, Apicati P5. And Bosmos in P4. 7 seconds behind the front three. 9 seconds, sorry. I'm sure that said 7 literally a second ago. But 9 seconds. So all that battling behind is costing them a little bit on the leaders, and I thought we saw everybody slowing down then. No, I don't see a yellow dot on the map. I just see a yellow flag for sector 2. Where is the safety? Is the safety showing orange? Or is it a VSC and not showing me that's VSC? I think it's a VSC. It is. Something's flashing. Yeah, okay. Game didn't give me the top notification to say that that was a VSC. Just said the yellow flag. So I was wondering why everybody slowed down. I was looking for the yellow dot of the safety car on the track, with the track being yellow, but there we go. Back to normal racing now. Green flag conditions. That's allowed Barry to get really close to Lorenz. Lorenz must have kept a fair chunk on his delta, and he's going to nip it into the pits now on lap 13. Get off of those mediums and onto the hard. So that's puts Barry as our current leader of the race until he stops. Barry, a reserve here today, having a very strong race for, I think it's his first one of the season as well. So debut of the season as a reserve, and he's not having too bad of a race at the moment. Hopefully I haven't given him the commentator's curse with that one. We shall see come towards the end of the race, but so far so good for the driver. Have a little look back at Cooper. Obviously, oh, we got no nose. We're going to call him No Nose Cooper. Got that no nose glitch of after changing his front wing. Now back in the points position currently of P10, trying to battle with Lorenz, who's come out just in front of him. But obviously Cooper's going to be on much much older tires, so he's not going to be able to do too much once Lorenz has them tires fired up. But he definitely had a little look while he had the opportunity. And now with everybody making their pit stops or having pit stops, the gaps have opened up a little bit more between each other. But that's expected after pit stops. Undercut around this track, I'm aware, is quite strong. As we've got another yellow flag in sector 3. That was for PW Jones, who looked like he had a spin. His wing. Yeah, his wing looks okay, so it wasn't for hitting the wall or anything. It looks like he's had a bit of a spin, so unfortunate for PW Jones so far after having a relatively strong qualifying. Barry now pitted, back down with Marius. As you can see with that undercut, Lorenz now got a couple of seconds on the on Barry and Marius. So that just shows in that one lap earlier he went in Barry, just how much, like how strong the undercut can be around here. That puts Bosmos as our current leader of the race. Glitch 10 down there in P4. Glitch stopped pretty early, didn't he? Let's have a little look. He's definitely stopped. Yeah, he's been on them hards for 5 laps, so I wouldn't say that's early, but he definitely stopped earlier. I think he was one of the first of the front guys to call it on the mediums. As Apicati now decides to call it in. Go down to Lorenz, who's getting close to out in P4. Lorenz will be looking to dispatch the Aston Martin as quickly as he can. Alp, I believe, starting. No, he didn't. So I'll stop what I'm saying right there. I was just going to say I think he started on the hards, but he had that early incident, didn't he, where he stopped. And now they're side by side through turn 5 into turn 6, and that's the move done and dusted for Lorenz. Now he can focus on catching up to Huff and Dobak, who's the next car ahead of him. Capabari and Marius having a battle behind. Marius getting through on Capabari, just missed that one. You've got Cooper Fan in front of them on them older tyres, so we'll see if they're able to get the better traction out of this hairpin. Cooper looking to have an okay exit. Marius now pushing that boost button, trying to get the move done round the outside. And that gets the move done. Nice move around the outside there from Marius on Cooper. Now Cooper under pressure from Capabari. Capabari had a little poke out, see if he could get it done under braking, but knew that he couldn't this time round, so tuck back in. He's going to have to maybe look at it down into turn 1. I wonder if he's going to send one down into turn 1 or if he's going to wait. He sticks out. He's going to send one down into turn 1. Cooper puts the squeeze on it, but Capabari keeps his nose in there. Cooper now looking possibly for the switchback, but with being on them older tyres, he just can't get the traction down quick enough, and that is the move done and dusted for Capabari. But Cooper putting up a good fight. Apologies if you can hear my daughter in the background there. It's not somebody being unalived. Oh, snap from Bosmos. Little clip of the wall. But doesn't pick up much damage or any at all. He was quite lucky with that one, but big snap off of Bosmos. So, Bosmos, it's all on when he's going to pull the plug. I wonder if he's going to call it this lap. What tyres is he on? He is on a hard tyre. And he's choosing to stay out. And current gap 2 seconds is 7 seconds, but Bosmos is going to have to stop at some point. But he's up 10 positions as it stands, so depending on where he comes out, which at this point I think he's just going to start losing time to majority of the grid with them being on fresher tyres. Huff and Dobak in the pits. Go Glitch 10 close to Lorenz now, and out not far behind as well. So we'll just have a little look at these guys and see what goes on. Alp looking like he's getting ready to try and set one up on Glitch 10. Alp recovering very well from that start. Let's see. Is he gonna... Oh, he has a little bit of a wiggle out of the hairpin. He's not going to be able to get anything done on Glitch just yet if he's thinking about it. He's definitely very, very close to getting some sort of move on. Glitch going a bit defensive, but then out, pokes back to the inside, has a little look, can't get it done this time round, through the chicane. Glitch manages to maintain the position, but this is just going to allow Lorenz now to just break a bit of a gap to them, as Boss now decides to pull the plug on them hards and come in for the mediums. I imagine it would be mediums. I'd be very surprised if it was the softs. But this is just now allowing Lorenz to pull the gap that he needs, to not have to worry about looking behind him and just focusing on putting the laps down. Now Alp having to go to the outside of turn 5. Can he get it done round the outside of Glitch 10? He can get it done. Very good racing between these guys. Glitch given plenty of space there, knowing he can't defend it, and being wise on not keeping the nose in for too long and slotting in behind Alp, so that is now out up into P2, and Lorenz and Glitch 10 in P3. Capibari and Marius starting to close in on them as well, so the battles could be on for the podium position soon. See how much Marius has to worry about Capibari behind him, or if he can just use they can use each other in some kind of way to try and gain to the pack ahead, well, the pair ahead. I think Glitch deciding to go a little bit earlier on the tyre change might just be jumping up and biting him a little bit at this stage, with the other guys being on pressure tyres. Let's just have a little look again at the tyre offset. So Glitched on 10 lap old and Alp on 7, and then the guys behind on both on 5. So depending on how much these guys behind battle, I would expect to see them close that gap on Glitch now. Capivari staying very close to Marius through sector 2, hoping to maybe leave himself in a position to shape one up. These two been at it with each other for majority of this race. Seen some nice racing between these guys here in Division 1 today. Have a little look behind at Apicati on Cooper, because Apicati is starting to get very close to Cooper. Cooper would be really struggling now on these hard tyres. Apicati looking like he's going to send one into turn 1. Side by side with Cooper. Cooper turns in a little bit early there, causing contact with Apicati, and that gives a 3-second time penalty to Apicati. Depending on, I wonder if he'll look to get that one removed. Maybe. It did look like Cooper turned a little bit early there into him, so wait and see what happens in the steward room on that one. Oh, sorry, I removed that box. I completely zoned out that that box was still there. Nobody wants to see that on the screen. We want to see the track. We want to see as much of the track, as much of the cars as we can. Who wants to see that thing there? I mean, it's not even transparent. Like, they could make it a little bit more transparent, couldn't they? Like, just a solid block. But Marius and Capibari now have got onto the back of Glitched. as I was saying a couple laps ago, that I was expecting this to happen with Glitch being on the slightly older tyres, and that's allowing Alp now to get a little bit of a gap to Glitch 10 and try and confirm his P2 a little bit more, or even try and push forwards. That's just only 2.5 seconds to Lorenz. It only takes Lorenz to get a 3-second time penalty, and where he stands, that win could be his. But the battle is on for the podium positions now between Glitched, Marius, Capibari. Capibari looking on the inside of Marius there, knowing that he's not going to get anything done into this section, being sensible about it, biding his time, being patient. Patience can win you races, especially at tracks like this. Or win you positions at least. Patience is a virtue in these circumstances. Still plenty of time in a way of the race left, so if it was the last lap I'd understand it a little bit more, but currently we've got a nice little three-way battle going on in the mid-pack as well now between Richmond, Bosmos and Cooper. Have a little look at these as Bosmos is looking close to Cooper. I wonder if Cooper's going to have another car send it on him down into turn 1. Cooper moving over to try and go a little bit defensive and make that as tight as possible for Bosmos. He does make it tight, and Bosmos runs a little bit deep, but nothing untoward. Bosmos able to keep the position. Cooper now under pressure from Richmond. Richmond having to look round it outside. And that is moved done and dusted for the Ferrari as well on Cooper. Cooper just losing the positions now. Them tyres must feel horrible. Out closing that gap on Lorenz a little bit. It's now getting down into the 2-second mark. It was at 2.5 seconds, so he is just edging time away a little bit. I wonder if that's Lorenz is just managing himself, keeping, you know, trying to manage as much as he can, not take too much out of the tyres. Just see whether Alp can get himself up for the fight for the win come the end of the race. But Marius through on Glitched. Capibari just looks like he's had a little moment or something and backed away from it now, as he was very close to the rear of Marius for quite some time. Wondering if that dirty air has just taken a bit more out of his tyres. But Marius now taking the podium from Glitch, and Glitch picks up a 3-second time penalty, so that will drop him currently down behind Capibari in P5, but he should be safe from P6 at the moment. So my winner doesn't look to be very likely at the moment. Maybe I gave him the curse. But I had Glitch down as my winner at the start of this race. And that's looking more and more unlikely now. He's picked up that 3-second penalty. Nobody Cares has come into the chat saying Lorenz is managing a pedal issue. That's why the time is fluctuating. Okay, that's fair enough. But he's doing well. If he's got a pedal issue, a pedal issue. He is doing well at the moment, I must say. He started down P7, I want to say. Let me double check. Yeah, P7, so considering he's had a pedal issue, he's done pretty well. And that gap now we can see is opening back up. It's 2.7 now from Alp to Lorenz, so maybe he's either sorted it out a little bit or he's found a way to live with it a bit better. But Alp is under pressure from Marius, so that isn't probably not helping as well with Alp's push to Lorenz, as we saw Alp have a little bit of a squiggle there. And Lorenz is all over, Marius is all over the back of him, putting him under all kinds of pressure at the moment. A little bit of a lock up there from Alp. I know that sometimes it can, I've been told, sometimes it shows a lock up when there's not actually a lock up, but that one looked like a genuine lock up there from Alp. And Marius now looking to send one into turn one. We've seen quite a few moves being made into turn one here today, and it's not the easiest of turn ones to make a move into, but if you can get it done the way Marius did it there, then he made it look easy. But the charge is now on for Marius. Now has 5 laps to try and see whether he can get anywhere near Lorenz. It's a big ask, but not impossible. Especially if Lorenz is having pedal issues. That could jump up and bite him, but as I was saying a moment ago, he's done very well with it. Oh, we had a big snap from Marius there, and he nearly had the fate of PW, I think it was, or Bossmos, that clipped that wall in the earlier stages. Glitch 10 now getting back close to Alp. We have a yellow flag in sector 2. Ooh, we have PW Jones getting through on Catello. And Huff and Doback has dropped back, so I'm wondering if that yellow flag was for him. But as I was about to say, Glitch 10 now getting back close to these guys, so I'm wondering if he was just managing, recharging a little bit, or whether them battling in front was brought him back. But now he's the one putting the pressure, being pressured by Capybara again. But he has got back within that second of Alp, as well as being under pressure. Capybara having a little look, but can't get it done yet. But out, Capybara, he's done well to get up to the back. Oh, nearly goes into the rear of Glitch, but he's done well to get back up to Glitch. I think he would have, with the 3 seconds, he was looking at the position anyway, but obviously, as a racing driver, you don't want to win it on penalties, you want to win it on track. I mean, you'll take it by the penalties, obviously, but for bragging rights and just the inner racer in you, you want to get it done on the track if you can. After that first stint, I thought it was going to be close between these guys right to the end, and so far it has been. And Capybara now picks up a 3 seconds, so that puts him on a neutral ground, and if he wants it, he's going to have to get it done on track. Glitch doing well to defend at the moment. We saw Capibari going for it there. Made them both a bit slower in that corner, and then Glitch they're going to have to try and defend again. Capibari had a little look. He can see where he's faster than Glitch, but just can't get past him at the moment by the looks of it. And almost into the back, if not just a slight tap again at the hairpin. But Glitch getting a very good exit out of the hairpin, which is helping with his defense down into the next corner. Three laps remaining, 29, 30 and 31. Lorenz still at 2.5 seconds lead on Marius. Is looking like it could be in the bag for Lorenz, and job well done for the driver at the moment. Very, very strong from him if he's been having issues, and starting in P7, get himself up into the lead and then having a 2.5 second buffer. He can't complain too much at that. Catello picks up a 10 seconds for speeding in the pit lane. He must be having to stop for damage. We won't know because we're catching him coming back out, but that will be the red, yep, that will be the red soft tyres on his car for the last couple of laps. Huff and Doe back on the softs as well, putting in a 1:30.1 for the fastest lap of the race currently. Obviously, there's no point for that anymore, but still nice to have it, nonetheless. So things have calmed down a little bit move-wise, but Capibari is still very close to Glitch. Probably getting a little bit frustrated now as he's seeing them lap times come down, that he's not been able to get himself past. Because he definitely has looked quicker in some parts of the track, but Glitch has been defending very well. Can't take that away from Glitch at this point. He's defended it very well. As I say that, he has a mistake and he goes deep. That allows Capibari to get the move done. And that is now Capibari up into P3, taking the podium away from Glitch with 2 laps to go. Well, a lap and a half to go. But as you can see now, Capibari getting away from Glitch. Glitch's tyres are probably screaming at him. Let's just see how long he's been on it. He's been on them for 5 laps more, so he's on 20 lap hold hards. Yeah, them tyres are done and dusted, I think, for Glitch. It's a matter now of him being like, right, okay, not the podium for me today. Let's just get this car home and not lose out to anyone behind. He's got a 5-second buffer, so he should. Whoa, imagine it. No, nobody clipped that voice break. Please don't. But he should be able to maintain the P4. Oh, that was rare. That felt horrible. What a voice crack that was. And Capibari going for the move on out, so Capibari is going to lose out on penalties, but on track looking for the P2. And Capibari having to yield it there. Tight area of the track. I mean, near enough every area is, but that is also a tight 90-degree turn. Just beyond 90 degree. A very sharp turn. and having to go slotting behind out. So that's Capibari still in the P3 position, but tried to get the move on out. Wanting that P2 on track. Obviously, he wouldn't have the time now to pull out the 3 seconds, but he was definitely wanting to have it on track. We'll go back now to Lorenz. He's coming through the final chicane. Very, very well managed race for Lorenz with having pedal issues to come through on top, and he will take the win here in Singapore Division 1. Out will come in second place, 2 seconds behind. Capibari taking the P3, Glitched Hen having to settle for P4. Bosmos in P5, Marius in 6, and Apicati in P7. Richmond now coming through the final corner to confirm his P8. Cooper, after picking up that damage from turning into the wall, taking P9, still managed to get a couple of points out of it. PW Jones, a fairly strong qualifying from him, but a rough start to the race and having to settle for P10. A couple of little moments for PW through that race, so I think he'll just be happy to get the point from that one. Ratty getting a 10-second time penalty for corner cut, and I think he's just completely cut the chicane, and now he's ghosted, so he's going to come in last, and that's Huff who's going to take P11. Cotello, no, was that Cotello? In P12, and then that'll be Ratty for P13. And that there will conclude round 4 here in OTLR at Singapore. Tough track, and not one to ever disappoint with the action, I must say. With it being a tight track and plenty of corners, it does encourage more overtaking and moves, and we definitely had plenty of that today, especially into turn 1. And I am now being greeted, there we go, I was being greeted with the lovely black screen there. So race winner being Lorenz. Huff and Doback keeping the fastest lap. Driver of the day, Lorenz, P7 to P1, and then Huff and Doback with the most overtakes. So Lorenz, Huff. Let's get the grid. Top 3, we don't have anybody on Xbox, so unfortunately I won't be able to conduct any interviews tonight, as Xbox is terrible with its Discord integration, and it doesn't, as far as I'm aware, it still doesn't broadcast Discord chats. Like, you would hear me, but not any of them. It'll only broadcast Xbox party chats, so I won't be able to do that one. So hopefully we can get some interviews off the guys at some point during the season, but as it stands, that's just not possible. So yeah, on that note, anybody that's still here, be sure to join us next week when we take on round 5, getting close to that halfway stage of the season already, with round 6 being the halfway point, as we go to round 5, which will be at Austria, and that's one of my favourite tracks, so I'm looking forward to that one. So yeah, join us next Tuesday, at 8 PM for Division 2 as they take on Spielberg, and then Division 1 will have their go at it on the Wednesday at 8 PM. So until then, take care and goodbye.